Alright, so this is the first video we're doing here on the Lag Bros channel. Going to give you a rundown on our bikes, especially the two new ones we just bought. We've got everybody on full-size bikes this year, but the focus of this are the two new 2022 KLX300Rs. Obviously it's 2024, but we did get the 2022s at a significant price. You know, they were leftovers and the financing from Kawasaki was still really good. So we grabbed two of them, and we're going to put two younger riders on them, smaller guys moving up to full-size bikes, and you know, they don't ride as aggressively you know, as we do on these other full-size bikes like the WR250F you see there and the KTM 150XCW. I'll pan over to those in a minute here. But overall, these bikes are really nice bikes. They're a trail bike more or less designed for an aggressive trail rider. They have the inverted suspension, fuel injection, and 300 cc's. They're no slouch. They're plenty fast enough for what we do. There were some differences between the 2024s and the 2022s. I just showed you the suspension linkage there in the rear, and I'm just showing you the engine here. Those are the two big changes. I dug through all of the internal parts diagrams, and the rear suspension linkage changed, and that lowered the seat height from 22 to 24. And they listed a higher compression ratio in 24 than they did in 22, and that was basically just a difference. Again, I dug through the internal parts diagrams, and that was just a difference in the base gasket and the cylinder. So those were the only big differences. I was concerned about that at first. I didn't want to be getting a bike that was old and outdated, but you know, once I dug through all the parts diagrams, I found that they're exactly the same bike other than those minor changes. So these bikes overall, we really like them overall. You know, nice wide comfortable seat. The inverted suspension is really nice for a trail bike. That's hard to find. These bikes, you know, manufacturers, I wouldn't say cut corners, but they try to keep costs down on these to make them appeal to the average person looking to get into the sport. So you know, the inverted suspension is tough to find on a trail bike at this price point. So that really attracted us, along with the fuel injection. So nice wide comfortable seat, quiet exhaust, decent, you know, plush suspension, which we really like. You can't expect much more for a trail bike. Some people complain that these are undersprung, but I would disagree. I think they're set up perfectly for what they do. And like I say, and what they do is running the trails, and somebody that's going to be semi-aggressive to aggressive on the trails. There isn't much we don't like about these bikes. The one big gripe that I have with these is that the exhaust is extremely hot. It gets extremely hot. We rode for about 5 minutes, let the bikes cool for about 20 minutes, and when we came back to wash them, the exhaust was still too hot to wash them. It was melting the exhaust plug right in the exhaust and vaporizing any water that touched the muffler. So that's just out of control. It could be a real safety concern with a smaller rider if the bike tips over on them and they have trouble getting the bike off of them, because it is a heavy bike. So that's something we're going to change. Just kind of giving you a rundown. We have a little KLX110L that we have here too for them to ride, you know, when they don't feel like getting on these things, just because, like I say, they are big and heavy. So super nice. I don't think I mentioned the electric start. That's almost a given now on a lot of motorcycles. But yeah, like I say, not much we don't like, and there's plenty to love about them. But there are some things that need to change. They have some crash bars there, like you see. They protect the water pump and the water pump hoses, but the bike lacks any kind of real skid plate from the factory. So that's something we're gonna go out and get one of those for each bike. We're gonna throw a lowering link on one of them, and you know, some other protection parts like hand guards and a bar pad that they don't come with from the factory. The stock rubber we might change out as well. That's extremely hard. Should last a long time, but for our terrain, it's not suited to us. I'm zooming in on the foot peg there because that was another thing I didn't care for. Is the foot pegs are really narrow and really short, and they're kind of pigeon-toed. They stick out at a weird angle off the frame. That's something we're going to have to change right away. They're just not enough of a platform to feel comfortable on these bikes. So going back to the tires, you know, we're Northeast. We ride a lot of roots, rocks, snow, mud, and the compound on these is super hard. It's going to be really durable for somebody maybe who's on dirt roads and rock and that kind of stuff a lot more. But well, that's just not our style of riding, so we're probably going to have to swap that out. Like I said, exhaust is super quiet. It's nice. Other than the heat, I wouldn't even think about changing it. You know, it runs fine, doesn't seem corked up or anything. But just from the safety aspect of that getting so hot, we are going to put an exhaust on one of them. And the plan is basically, you know, we'll take these bikes. We're gonna throw some money at them, but we're not going to go crazy because these bikes are never going to be more than what they're intended to be. They're never going to be on par with, you know, the other bikes you see sitting behind them, and they're just not built for that. But we are going to throw some parts at these. We're going to kind of keep it a budget build. We'll let you know what we think of the parts that we get and how they hold up and how they perform. And we'll just kind of give you a rundown with some ride reviews. We'll do some installs and show you how we do some work. We've got some hour meters that we're going to put on these. So there's a ton of stuff we're going to do. And we're just going to kind of go through these and set them up where they should be for, you know, your average rider looking to either get into the sport or somebody that's moving up to the next level. Along with that lowering link, we'll lower the forks and the triple clamps and get one of these bikes leveled out where it should be nice and low for the smaller guy. And we'll just pick them apart. We'll go through them and we'll let you know what works, what doesn't, you know, what you should spend your money on, what you shouldn't. And we'll follow everything up with ride reviews and installs, and we'll keep you posted.